Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking some time to meet with us. We are very excited to announce the State Competitiveness Fund legislation. We're also thankful for all of you taking a moment or two as we organized. We will get right to the point. Proud to announce an agreement to push forward legislation at $115 million for the Department of Commerce State Competitiveness Fund. Those of you that have been following this know that this will be a transformational amount of money to provide competitive matching grants for the IIJA and IRA legislation that came out of Washington, D.C. I'm proud to be here with my partner, the House Chair, Representative Patty Acomb, and a number of supporters that have done a lot of work to get us to this point. Allow me to just introduce myself, give you the basics, and then we'll get to the good part. I'm State Senator Nick Frentz, the chair of the Senate Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate Committee. I represent District 18. My hometown is North Mankato. Here now, the news. The state competitiveness grants create a priority. So the Department of Commerce will be administering $100 million in grants. In addition, we'll have $1.5 million in technical assistance, another $6.75 million I've recently learned in some of the grant capacity, and I'm going to let Representative Acomb talk about the way the state of Minnesota will assist entities in providing applications to the federal government to get these matching grants. But here's the priority of the entities and the way that we think this will serve Minnesota cities, counties, utilities, nonprofits, and other organizations that are eligible to participate in the roughly 24 IIJA and IRA grant opportunities. First, to the state of Minnesota. Second, to a political subdivision or tribal entity. Third, to a higher ed institution, a cooperative electric utility, or a nonprofit. Fourth, to an investor-owned utility. And fifth, to any other entity which is not in the first four, but which is eligible under the federal guidance, some of which is still coming in. Why is this important? Because we're going to drive the economy, we're going to drive our clean energy goals, and we're going to drive the state's response to climate change. And I can tell you in the Senate, we are very proud to be a part of it. With that, I thought I might introduce the House Chair, Representative Patty Acomb. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Representative Patty Acomb, and I chair the Climate and Energy Finance and Policy Committee in the House. And one of the questions people are asking is, why are we doing this now? And as Senator Frentz talked about, we have a great opportunity with what's going on with the federal programs, the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act. And as we know, we're facing a climate crisis and need to transition away from fossil fuels quickly. We just recently passed the 100% clean energy bill, and we know that these funds and this state competitiveness fund can help us meet and reach those clean energy and renewable goals. We have this historic opportunity by partnering with the federal government, and we want Minnesota to be as competitive as possible with other states around the country in securing money or in securing those funds. And so it's estimated that for every dollar that we have within the State Competitiveness Fund, it can bring $7 to $8 back to Minnesota. And so with our $100 million matching fund investment, we can leverage as close to $750 million to come back in needed investments in Minnesota. The State Security Fund will make sure that these funds are available all across our state to communities that are small and large, to provide assistance to tribal governments and especially disadvantaged communities to make sure that everyone can benefit in this clean energy transition. And with that, I want to turn it over to Commissioner Grace Arnold from the Department of Commerce. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. So thank you to Representative Acomb, Senator Frentz. It's really great to have such strong partners in the legislature because this is really critical work. So I know you all understand that, and the folks behind us have a really great coalition who understand the opportunity here. So I'm Grace Arnold. I'm the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Commerce that has the Energy Resources Division, which will oversee the State Competitiveness Fund. The State Competitiveness Fund is a vital part of how our state can work toward Minnesota's climate action framework goals. We're building momentum for a clean energy future, and we all know that Minnesotans are looking to us now for leadership to protect the Minnesota we know now and for future generations. The Climate Action Framework, many of you may know, was released last September, and it identifies a vision for the state to address climate change. And passing one part of the climate bill, which is the State Competitiveness Fund, is a really great step in making those goals a reality. As we transition to a clean energy economy, Minnesota can't afford to miss an opportunity to leverage federal dollars available. I'm excited about this proposal because it's going to create good paying jobs, accelerate a path to a clean energy future, and make Minnesota competitive with other states. It's also going to provide grant development capacity in rural and disadvantaged communities in order to successfully compete for the billions of dollars in funding available. Unfortunately, right now we're behind. Other states like Michigan have already appropriated funds, but I'm confident that this proposal can fix that. There are over 20 competitive federal funding opportunities in the billions of dollars that Commerce and partners are positioned to compete for. Each successful application will have staffing needs, and some require a state match. And we want all of these opportunities, these competitive funding opportunities, to be available for all communities. In order for us to ensure all Minnesotans benefit, we've grounded this proposal in equity. We want to make sure that opportunities are accessible to small municipalities, to tribes, schools, businesses, and other entities that can benefit. It's really critical to address the structural inequities in access to these resources. So I'd like to introduce two community representatives to share their stories on how they're trying to compete for federal funds. So let me first introduce Courtney Johnson, who's the mayor of Carver, which is located on the banks of the Minnesota River.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Johnson, and I have the extreme pleasure of serving as the mayor of the city of Carver. Carver is a community of roughly 6,000. We're located 13 miles west of 494 along Highway 212 in the Southwest Metro. While we are growing rapidly, Carver is nearing the beginning of our journey with renewable energy. Just last night at our city council meeting, we discussed adding solar panels to a new building project for our fire and public services departments. We've also previously discussed adding public EV chargers in Carver. Right now, the closest public EV charger is in Bloomington, which is 20 miles away from our community. As an aside, my dad owns an EV, which he insists on driving whenever he comes to visit from the Milwaukee area. Ever since he's had that car, he started staying with my sister, who lives in Maple Grove. Now, that's partly because that's where his grandchildren live, but it's also because of its proximity to an EV charger, a public EV charger. It's basically in my sister's backyard at the Hy-Vee that's within walking distance of her home. Carver is a small but growing community, and at this time, there's very little room in our budgets for renewable energy. We have a relatively small tax base, and we are in the thick of developing new infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure that we have. We also have a really small staff. Outside of our public service and fire departments, we have just 10 full-time employees at City Hall. Accessing matching funds from the state would open doors to apply for grant programs that we currently cannot because of our lean budget in our small but mighty community. We are eager to join the clean energy conversation, and this bill will allow us to do that. The federal grant process is long and complex, and that might be an understatement. Having these technical assistance grants will be important to smaller communities like the city of Carver because of this complexity in the federal grant application process, and then additionally the reporting process once those grants are assigned. The opportunity the State Competitiveness Fund would provide through resources, technical assistance, and grant writing help for the city of Carver and other small cities throughout the state of Minnesota is phenomenal. I can't tell you what this would mean for my community and so many others that are like us.
All right, thank you, Mayor Johnson. And now let me introduce Derek Moe, who's the CEO of the Minnesota Rural Electric Association, to explain how members of MREA are seeking to pursue federal funding. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Minnesota Rural Electric Association and our Rural Electric Cooperative members have partnered with the Minnesota Department of Commerce and others to pursue innovative upgrades to the electric transmission and distribution grid under IIJA. If successful, over $400 million in projects across the state will bring greater resiliency to the electric grid by deploying tomorrow's technologies today. This grant will provide a 50% federal funding match for these projects, allowing cooperatives to do them at literally half price. We won't sell more electricity under these projects or increase revenue, and cooperatives worry about affordability, so this grant would allow us to push forward tomorrow's innovations today while still keeping electricity rates affordable. It enhances our ability to react quickly to outages and deploys automation to increase power flow on existing lines. It deploys energy storage technologies. We'd be glad to provide background on the dozens of projects that would be included in this particular effort. The state matching dollars under this bill being considered here will help ensure that this project and others like it get done and get done well. We couldn't wait for this bill in order to get started with this effort, of course, because the federal timelines on these projects have been marching forward as we speak. So we have already partnered with the Department of Commerce and have enjoyed working with them, and they are the eligible applicant in the case of the project that I'm talking about here, so it literally would not have been possible without the partnership with them, which we much appreciate. I am excited about the news we just received from the Federal Department of Energy on this particular project. They make the final decision on funding it at the federal level, and DOE has recently informed us that they like the proposal and have encouraged us to move forward with a full application. We applaud the legislature, appreciate the senator and the representative working on it, and bringing dollars back to Minnesota to improve the vitally important infrastructure like the electric grid. We encourage you to include as much funding as possible and get it to the governor soon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Derek. And just before we move to questions, I do want to acknowledge that we have a large group here because this is a coalition project, and this is we have great champions in our legislative chairs, but it's clean energy, community, tribal government, labor. It's a project that will benefit all Minnesotans, or that's the idea, and it's all of the folks who I just mentioned and more have had a hand in shaping the proposal as it is today, and I think that it's made it really great, and one of the reasons we're so excited to be talking to you here. Any questions?
So, just so I understand, what is the deadline for using the federal funds? Like, how much time does the state have to access those dollars?
It depends. One of the things that's a challenge about the Department of Energy funding is that it's not coming in big blocks. There are at least 20 opportunities now that we're aware of, and there are more coming. So each has slightly different kind of requirements and timelines. So the reason that we've kind of come up with the proposal that we have is to be able to address all of those. The time is now because there are proposals that are happening, like there are information, and Derek mentioned the one that we just got notice on to go forward with a larger application, but it's sort of, it's always going, and we can get you more information about what we have available, like what's now, what's coming, to the extent we know. But that's one of the reasons that this is so important, is that it's a lot of different opportunities. They're small, some are big, and we need an ability to kind of adapt to that and get the most amount of federal funds that we can here in Minnesota.
So there's an urgency. I'm sensing an urgency. So the two, you had the mayor of Carver, and then you have Rural Electric Association. Can you give an example of what like a tribal project or some other like equity type project could be?
Sure. So Derek, do you want to talk a little bit about the one that you're, you're just speaking? So a lot of the tribal governments have their own clean energy plans. So each has a slightly different kind of vision because it depends on where they are and what utilities they're working with. But adding solar panels to or a solar area, upgrading their grid to make sure that they can access the reliable energy. Those are the kinds of projects that we would envision, and there are more. It might be helpful to just send a list so you can kind of see the types of things, because I think.
Commissioner, would you like me to say?
Yeah. Derek, why don't you come and talk about the one that you're. Because Derek, the one Derek's is big.
When we testified in support of this bill a couple of weeks ago, the CEO from the co-op in the Arrowhead came to testify with us. They're working, for example, on on a project that would bring greater reliability to the Grand Portage tribe in that area, that would involve energy storage and instead of trying to get a second transmission line built, would involve energy storage and, building kind of smarter infrastructure that's already there to help with they're on the end of about a 60-mile radial line just because of the way the geography works up there. So we have, the project that I talked about has 50 different utilities, mostly co-ops, some municipals as well around the state. And so the particulars of which project and how it helps depends on which area of the state you're talking about for that particular sub-project. But that's one example that we think is a great one that we'd love to see move forward.
Can the two bill authors, do you guys want to come forward and talk about in terms of urgency of how you're trying to move forward on this?
Sure, and maybe I'll just also touch on the equity piece. And I think that, there's certainly, I've had conversations with tribes around the state and their desires to go net zero, which is great. So certainly opportunities there. And there's also opportunities within the metro area to target disadvantaged communities and to bring in money to help with weatherization, for example, to improve energy efficiency in buildings and homes. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that it can hit that equity piece and focus throughout the state in that equity piece. And as far as maybe just I'll turn it over to the senator in 1 second. As far as the urgency, we have an opportunity right now to get the money out the door and to get people who are working on projects and to be able to plan for what's coming up in the season or in this the building season, and rather than waiting until the end of session to deal with our budget. The whole budget, we can get this out the door now, and who knows, we can continue working on more.
Shannon, I think there's a couple other urgency points. First of all, we have other states that have already appropriated this money. The commissioner mentioned Michigan. Minnesota entities that want these grants are already behind other states. And as you know, Minnesota is a net payer in to Washington, D.C. We send more money there than comes back out. There's no reason that we shouldn't urgently pursue our fair share of this particular federal legislation. The second reason, of course, is that things are not getting any cheaper. As we look at the people behind us that help build these projects, ask them what happens to the cost if, for example, a rural electric co-op waits a year. It's expensive. And so those are a couple things as far as urgency that we feel mean we should be moving this forward. And I would like to think it will get to the floor of the House and Senate this month.
Next stop in the Senate is the Finance Committee.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay. And where is the bill in the House?
It's going to be heard in Ways and Means next Monday.
Good. It's settled then.
My committee starts in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
One quick picture of everybody together.
Sure.
Sure, that's great.
Yeah,
Scooch. Uncomfortably scooch. Like you just like that, right?
Yeah. We were at this dinner, and it was me and Commissioner